Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rafael Martinez, and this is a point 0.5 episode. I know, bizarre. We have never done a point 0.5 episode before. What does that mean? It's a point 0.5 episode. What is something that happened that I wish I had addressed on the last episode, and it can't wait till next week. So let's just throw it together and give you something extra. For important news topics, I think. Breaking news. Welcome to 39.5. Listen, we all know what happened. It was the biggest event at the Oscars. Let's not fuck around here. It's not a normal episode. I don't want to take up too much of your time. This is meant to be a little addition. Let's just start with the events. Chris Rock comes out, guest host or whatever, coming in to, I guess, give out an award. He sees Will and Jada sitting in the front. Jada's not at the shaved head. I didn't know why. Then again, I thought that was just Jada being Jada. That's what she's choosing to do now. She's now bald-headed. That's her thing now. Cool. I'm always fine with it because Jada's always out there. Jada's always changing. She's like Bob Dylan in some ways. Finding these new caricatures or exploring aspects of herself. That's what I've always respected about Jada, really. She's an explorer of life, not necessarily a passenger. I never really thought about her much. I didn't really see her a lot in movies. I saw her in a few. But I always knew her as Will Smith's wife, who also acted. When she was in the Matrix trilogy, I was very excited. She's actually one of the cooler characters of that entire thing. She's the best captain. No one can fly mechanical. Only she can. I love that part of Revolutions, where she's handling business as the best pilot in the fucking human resistance. Dope. So she was at the Oscars where her husband, who was nominated for King Richard, which I haven't seen. Sorry, Venus and Serena. I just don't have the time to watch all the movies. I'm a busy person. I have a show on WRKN that needs me to be there. I don't want this 0.5 to turn into me complaining, but I can if they give me back sass. No back sass for me. I'm not the one in trouble here. Will is sitting there. He's excited. He's been really excited about this movie. I hear he did a good job. Good for him. Great. I've always liked his acting. I've always liked Will Smith. Chris Rock makes a joke directed at Jada, saying he can't wait to see G.I. Jane 2. Which, if you know what G.I. Jane is, old 90s reference. Demi Moore shaves her head. She's a soldier. I never watched the movie, but I always thought the title was kind of cool. At first, Will laughs. Now, this has been subject to speculation. Did he laugh because it was funny? Or he laughed because he was uncomfortable? All due respect to Chris Rock, I don't know if I liked the joke that much to say I would have laughed out loud. I thought it was okay. I feel like that was a start to something bigger, but it was interrupted. But Will chuckles. Everyone seems to chuckle. But Jada, no chuckle. Will notices that, and Chris starts to continue with his guest spot. But Will, no likey. His wife, no likey. And now Will is going to let Chris Rock know how much he don't likey. So he goes up. Chris thinks it's part of a bit. He's going to, mess around with them. Try to take back some. But listen, Will, I don't know if he's the babyface or the heel here. It all depends on how you want to view the event. But he needs some heat back He just couldn't take that one lying down. And you have to consider there's a reason why he can't take it lying down. His wife clearly got into what she called an entanglement with August Alsina, I believe his name is. I just know him as August because I do not believe in last names. I want to go old school with it. Everyone goes by their first name only. Which Will do you mean? You're going to have to figure it out. Do the legwork. Do the research. I'm going to let you know the last name. It's a mystery. Everyone's a mystery when it's only first names. And then Beyonce's not as special. You know what I mean? These, like Seal, you know. Madonna. Get all these one-name people out of here. It's arrogance. I don't like it. I have no time for it on this program. That's a fucking lie. Anyway. Will's been taking it in the teeth for that entanglement and going on the Red Table Talk and his wife making him cry and publicly saying she doesn't know what love is, which makes him feel like a failure of a man. But they're supposed to be the open couple. Oh, how great. They talk about their stuff openly. We shouldn't know some of this stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. We should know quite a few of these things. But we know them now, don't we? And you have to understand, this has to hurt for Will on a level that I think most people would not understand. You have to remember who Will Smith was. He was the biggest Hollywood asset for years. His charisma was the anchor of a hit NBC TV show that crossed platforms between black and white very easily. It was a huge success. Then his movie career became bankable. You weren't just hiring Will Smith, you know, to be in a movie. It was Will Smith first, movie second. That's how big he was. He had cultivated an image that could not be beat. He was the clean black guy all white people could like. Non-threatening. But he can switch to that Will Smith and Bad Boys and handle things when you gotta handle things. That was the beauty of Will. He walked in two worlds. He was able to be a dope action star, but also be a really nice guy. Not very easy. You have to pick one or the other most of the time, but he didn't have to. He had that level of talent. Name any movie he was in. The movie is secondary. You never call him by any of the character names. You say Will Smith did this in this movie and that was fire. Where in Star Wars, no disrespect to Harrison Ford, you say Han Solo. Harrison Ford, I don't think, was that big of a guy at least at that time. But I think overall, he's big, but only if you're like a real huge acting and film nerd. For the most part, you remember his movies. Because you see him on a Saturday and they get burned into your memory on the afternoons. But Will Smith was so powerful that the movie was secondary. Wild Wild West bombed horribly. But what it loses, the box office makes up in fucking Wild Wild West, the music single, and soundtracks. And that's what Will provided. Will provided a name, star power, like superstar power charisma, rock star level. The box office came with that. And then he also gave you a song that was going to do at least 1 million too. If not more copies sold. He was the event in and of itself. No black actor before him had pulled that off. Denzel never had that. Denzel was never the box office darling. He was respected for his craft, but he wasn't the box office darling. Not like Will was. This was a man at the height of his powers could have anything. Nothing was off limits to him. But as he writes in his book, he felt a little empty inside. Started to affect his marriage. Okay. Maybe that's where things go awry. Being that level of great. But at the same time, though, Jada had made several statements about just kind of marriage-related stuff and how open things should be and non-traditional. But Will seemed to be very traditional. From the jump. the no cursing, all of it. Having a clean image. It's why he wasn't respected for so long, but oddly enough, in the long run, he won. Because arguably, he has more money than any of the rappers that used to shit on him before. He became pop culture royalty. Most of those rappers didn't. You don't even remember their names right now. Will had pulled off, and I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time about Will Smith. Because I feel like we are reaching this weird time where he feels that he needs to keep up with the content game. He started doing TikToks, Instagram challenges. He became a social media dad, which I don't understand the pivot. I always felt he was beyond that. Maybe he isn't. Maybe the brand is suffering. Maybe he's being forgotten about. Maybe when you're forgotten about, no longer the biggest star in Hollywood, things aren't the same at home. Maybe the same tricks you used to play all the time don't work anymore. There was one thing I read in his book, or at least in the excerpts, about how he did a documentary for his wife. Secretly, then showed it to her. She was unhappy with it. Something about the vanity of it all was a turn off to her. But this man who loves you so much made a documentary about you. That is the most beautiful thing one can do, I think. I want to encapsulate your life in a way where you lose none of your journey. It's saved. Or maybe Jada didn't want her journey defined. She wanted to be open and maybe decide for herself one day. And listen, I'm trying to give both sides an argument here. I think she was unappreciative as a life story itself. But I think if you look at them, they seemed mostly happy with her always having a little bit of an issue. That's what it seemed on the outside. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Here I am assuming you agree with me. You're probably cursing me out right now. I can live with it. So here he is with his wife, who he loves. And Chris Rock. Well, let's also present who he's been defending for months now on his entanglement. He took all the heat. He took it to the chin. Everyone made fun of Will, and Will alone. He suffered more than she did in that. Because people already knew this about Jada. The rumors were already out there. If anything, she was applauded for having the entanglement and applauding for changing the norms of marriage and all that. But Will, the traditionalist, got killed there. Because that's who he really was. Despite what he may want you to believe now, those tears stay different. So you sat there taking it on the chin for a whole year for this person who, in a lot of ways, doesn't really mesh with your style and kind of embarrasses you here and there. And here this man makes a joke on her accord. You happen to laugh because maybe you're uncomfortable. Like, dude, please don't. There's already tension here. Let it go. Please. I have to deal with this later. The joke comes. He sees her face. He's got to go up. Now, this is where you decide what kind of person you are. Do you slap him the way Will did? Or you try to chill it out? Say, hey, I don't appreciate that shit. Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. Will decides he's going to have it both ways. And slaps the shit out of Chris Rock. Now, to Chris Rock's credit, he stood tall. Did not fall, did not waver. There was no down goes Frazier there. Which was kind of disappointing with Will Smith because he trained to be Ali and he couldn't knock out Chris Rock. So if you're Jada, that's kind of a strike one, isn't it? The strike two, maybe. Depends, because Will Smith have a good rest of the night. But we'll get to that. Might have been a slap, because that's a bit much. But depends. Maybe that's what Jada always wanted. Will to be feared, not loved. Because maybe she found out when they fear you, they respect you. Maybe. But Chris Rock, making jokes, doesn't know she's got alopecia, which is legitimate. I've heard about it. I dated somebody who had it. Yeah, it's a thing. But how many of us knew she had alopecia? I didn't know until the slap. So if anything, Will Smith raised the awareness of the slap or alopecia through the slap. Congratulations. What a move. He's a fucking activist now. I kind of dig it. This is my thing. He's an activist. He was totally in the right. If that slap raises more awareness for alopecia, then he's done his job. He not only was able to be old Will, but he was new Will at the same exact time. What a move. What a move. And the disrespect is not in the slap. It's not. It's in the walk away. Because walking away says, I did that to you and you're going to take it. You're taking it. You're hurt now. You're done. I'm the man here and you're a child and you've been reprimanded. Goes back to his seat. And Chris didn't see that one coming. Now keep in mind, Chris Rock is a star, a comedic star of our time, one of the greatest legends, is known for going at people. Now, Chris Rock and Will Smith are no strangers to one another. Chris Rock was on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's made fun of Will and Jada before. They've been at similar parties. So Will knows who Chris is. He knows how Chris gets down. He felt fine to laugh at Chris when he was making fun of everybody else. But clearly he feels some type of way tonight. So he's no stranger to Chris. He knows Chris. So Chris gets slapped. He goes, huh. And then Will says, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Dude, it's a G.I. Jane joke. Chris Rock yells back out. Will yells louder, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. He says, I will, Chris. And then he does, I could, and then goes right back into his thing. You have to understand, Chris made a really bold choice here. Because it's easy, in my position, if I had just gotten smacked like that and I knew I couldn't hit you back, I'm at least firing 5 insults. Minimum 3. But I'm going for 5. Because I want to get you so pissed, you have to come back. And you have to do battle with me. I refuse to let you walk away. You will not embarrass me like that, my friend. No go, no go, no go. But Chris knows if he does, and Will attacks him, now he's giving Will all the leverage. Because now he's antagonizing. Security would have broke it up. I think after the first slap, he got to read what was going down. Smart move on their part. Smart move on Chris's part too. Pro, and continues on with the evening. Now during the commercial break, his publicist comes up to him and goes, you know you done fucked up, right? Like, this is going to be really divisive. And it is. There are people who are on his side going, he was protecting his wife. Okay. Street justice. I got you. See what's going on here. There are other people who are saying this is not proper behavior of the Oscars. To be honest, though, has the Oscars ever known proper behavior? I think not. I mean, how many awards does Woody Allen have? Think about that. While knowingly being a rapist. In case you forgot. But Tyler Perry and Denzel come over to him. Give him some kind words. Samuel L. Jackson even comes over and gives him, a 5. I think Sam Jackson always wanted to punch out Chris Rock. And here's the thing. Punching out Chris Rock, that's not really anything in terms of, men. No offense to Chris. And I think Chris would be the first to admit it. He's close to 60. Will's got about 100, maybe 50 pounds on him. It's not really a win. I wouldn't put that on my fight record. But he did it. But I guess Sam's always wanted to. And I think everyone's always wanted to punch Chris Rock, Ricky Gervais. You know, I think even Billy Crystal sometimes. Any of the hosts. Speaking of hosts, Amy Schumer, of course, stole all the viral tweets and made that her monologue. Congrats. I just want to commend her for being consistent in her joke thievery. This is what's all about, really, consistency. Chris was consistent. Jada was pretty consistent. Was Will consistent? Nope. But Amy Schumer found time to be consistent. Good for her. The white people made fun of the white people. The black people made fun of the black people. It would have been nice to have at least Rosie Perez up there to make fun of the Latinos because we were, in fact, in attendance. Not many people know that. We were actually there. I think one of us won. I think actually a few of us won, to be honest. But hey, what do I know? It's not like Gabriel Iglesias isn't available. He's available. Is he the best we can get? Yes, we can. You can get that guy. And he is the best we can get. He's funny. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Fluffy is funny. People be hating on Fluffy, man, hard. Anyway. So Will returns back to his seat. Good for him. Good move. I guess the Oscars go, well, it's Will Smith. We can just very well kick him out. He's a social media daddy now. He's going to put this on his TikToks. Can't be having that. And Jada, well, you know what's going to happen with Jada. There'll be a red table talk about it. And we can't have that, can we? So I guess Will's got to stay. Bold move by the Academy. Bold move. Did not think they had it in them. So then in a move that is so Hollywood, in record-breaking time, person who's committed assault wins an Oscar. Record-breaking time. Record-breaking time. Now, do I think Will Smith should be arrested? No. This is normal, actually. The slapping's normal. Where I grew up. That's quite normal. You always have to be responsible for what you say. Because you're likely to get your ass beat. That's just how it is. But, do I think that was the right decorum for the Oscars? I don't know. I am still very undecided on all this. But, he wins for King Richard. And his speech, I find to be particularly interesting. Let us take a listen. He is walking up to the stage and not slapping anyone. He's hugging, actually. Big hugs all around. Everyone's giving him a standing ovation. Okay, it's not about the award anymore. It's about punching the shit out of Chris Rock.
Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family. In this time in my life, in this moment, I am overwhelmed by what God is calling on me to do and be in this world. Making this film, I got to protect Ingenue Ellis, who was one of the strongest, most delicate people I've ever met. I got to protect Sanaya and Demi, the two actresses that played Venus and Serena. I'm being in my life to love people and to protect people and to be a river to my people. Now I know to do what we do, you got to be able to take abuse. You got to be able to have people talk crazy about you. In this business, you got to be able to have people disrespecting you. And you got to smile and you got to pretend like that's okay. But Richard Williams, and what I loved, thank you, D. Denzel said to me a few minutes ago, he said, at your highest moment, be careful, that's when the devil comes for you. It's like, I want to be a vessel for love. I want to say thank you to Venus and Serena. I just spit. I hope they didn't see that on TV. I want to say thank you to Venus and Serena and the entire Williams family for entrusting me with your story. That's what I want to do. I want to be an ambassador of that kind of love and care and concern. I want to apologize to the Academy. I want to apologize to all my fellow nominees. This is a beautiful moment, and I'm not crying for winning an award. It's not about winning an award for me. It's about being able to shine a light on all of the people, Tim and Trevor and Zach and Sanaya and Demi and Ingenue and the entire cast and crew of King Richard and Venus and Serena, the entire Williams family. Art imitates life. I look like the crazy father, just like they said. I look like crazy father, just like they said about Richard Williams. But love will make you do crazy things. To my mother, a lot of this moment is really complicated for me, but to my mother, she didn't want to come out. She had her knitting friends. She has a knitting crew that she's in Philly watching with. Being able to love and care for my mother and my family, my wife. I'm taking up too much time. Thank you for this honor. Thank you for this moment, and thank you on behalf of Richard and Oracene, the entire Williams family. Thank you. Hope the Academy invites me back. Thank you.
Well, how about that? Interesting speech. Interesting speech indeed. Because now it's all come out. Whatever he found in this role as King Richard has now come out in his real life. This is stuff he's really going on with or dealing with. And now it's reached the surface. Now, once again, do I agree with his action? No. I don't. I just identify that he's been going through this for a long time. This is not new. And now, granted, he has millions of dollars. Essentially, what happened was two millionaires got into a slap boxing match. One hit on the millionaire, if we're being classist about it. They're millionaires. They're fine. They'll wake up tomorrow in a bed full of money. He can retire tomorrow and be fine. But clearly, something's going on personally. He ain't the only one going through that. We see Kanye acting a fool, but I'll tell you this. I'd rather this than Kanye. Because what Kanye's doing is like abuse on everyone in the family. His children and his wife. With Will, this was really on him. Whatever happens is on him now. Denzel is right. Whether you believe in a devil or not, at your highest moment, that's when the sharks come. That's where all the insecurities boil up. Because at your highest moment, you fear nothing. You are at your apex and nothing can stop you. And Will, winning his first Oscar, or at least I think everyone knew he was going to win, more so this year than the other time he was nominated. But I think at this moment, an insecurity breeding at home popped up and he wasn't ready for it because he had been living a moment, the biggest moment in his life. And that insecurity shows up again and takes away his moment, takes away the memory of that movie and that Oscars. This is something that will be brought up for years. This is something that he won't be able to run away from. We'll make jokes about it, but he'll always have to live with this because it was so public. And we know people, you and I, listener, who in these moments act out. There's like built up anger or resentment in those moments. And we know people who have done them. We've done them. And I understand the point of Will. I understand the point of Chris. Dude, it's a G.I. Jane joke. He had no idea about the alopecia, clearly. I never known Chris to be that evil. I don't know him, but based on what I've heard, I've never known him to be that evil. So I don't think he would have made a joke knowing about the alopecia. Did he deserve to get hit? I don't think so. I think there could have been a talking to. If anything, I would have flipped it. You bring Chris Rock on Red Table Talk and go, hey, this is why you're an asshole. Flip that into content. Since you want to be Mr. Content now. But Will Smith is a man who has been dealing with a lot. Maybe he's got disillusionment of how things would have turned out. Maybe he's just realized this is how it ends. Sometimes with a whimper. Because that slap was probably the biggest hit he's had in a long time. I wish he had kept that same energy for the man who seduced his wife, but hey, maybe he wasn't ready to do that yet. Maybe Chris was the easy target. You know, he could hit Chris. He wouldn't have done that if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson said that shit. I'll tell you that fucking much. He wouldn't have done that shit if like Arnold Schwarzenegger said that shit. Not at all. But of course, Twitter twittered, and everyone had the hot takes. People were calling it toxic masculinity. People are calling it the right thing to do. People are saying, how can he be fined with assault? Judd Apatow said something along the lines of, Will could have killed him. Which is so interesting how white people always take any threat as fatal. So it kind of explains why, well, you know, sometimes when there's us and them. They could have killed him. Okay, Judd. Cute. Then comedians got scared and started feeling like, what if audience members could attack them? And this is where you get into the First Amendment argument, which I'm not prepared to have at this moment. But I'll tell you this much. Say what you want, but no, you get all the smoke you ask for. I don't know if it's always fair, but you get the smoke you ask for. Kathy Griffin was really concerned. Let me tell you something. It's very bad practice to walk up on stage and physically assault a comedian. Now we have to worry about who wants to be the next Will Smith in comedy clubs. I retweeted her going, oh, don't worry, Kathy. I haven't heard of anyone going to your shows. You'll be safe. And she will. There's two, kinds of comedians on this. My friend Josh Alba said, ones who are sticking by Chris Rock, and the other ones who are being funny. And he's right. Nikki Glazer is shocked and appalled by its disgusting behavior, but I would call her song to Bob Saget after he died, literally the whole day later, with a song that seemed prepackaged. I think that's disgusting behavior, Nikki, but I could be wrong. In the end, the only winner here is Jada Pinkett Smith, because she got the Will she wanted now. She wanted someone who needed to be fixed, and Will seemed to have it all together. I know in his book he tries to paint some things otherwise, but some of that feels forced. Maybe it's a facade. Who knows? But Jada got the Will she wanted. The one who will slap a motherfucker and be applauded for it. She got both the gentleman and the gangster. That is a rare feat to accomplish, but she got it. She's the real winner here. And it's not to say she's a manipulator of any kind. I think that would be too mean of a phrase. I think she just always wanted him to be something else. And little by little, couples do change each other. But I think this Will is a 180 from the Will we've always known. And maybe it's time to get used to it. Anyway. Thank you for joining me for this 0.5 episode. I don't know if we'll do any more of these. I kind of would like to. It'd be kind of cool. I don't even know how long this is. It's probably about 30 minutes. So, anyway. Have a good rest of the week. I'll see you Saturday.